Hi, I'm Peter Sawkins, National Numeracy Ambassador and winner of the Great British Bake Off 2020. This National Numeracy Day, we're going to be making one of my favourite go-to recipes from my book, Peter's Baking Party. I'm going to make a delicious rocky road, and I'd love for you to follow along at home. Before we start though, I'd like to let you in on my secret ingredient that I use in all of my bakes. Any guesses? Believe it or not, it's numbers. Numbers are everywhere when you're baking. From weighing out ingredients, cooking and cooling times, temperatures and portioning up at the end, numbers really do help us everywhere in the kitchen. So are you ready to get started? Well, let's have some baking fun. The first thing we're going to have to do to get cracking is actually to line our tin. So I've got a 20 centimeter or 8-inch square tin, so it's 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters. We're just going to lightly grease it and get some baking paper in it so that our rocky road doesn't stick at the end of the day. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of butter, or you could use margarine or whatever you want, and just lightly run it up the corners and the sides of the tin, just so our baking paper sticks in there. And now we've got a sheet of baking paper, a square sheet of baking paper, just a couple of inches wider than the tin around all sides. And so that this will slot into the tin nice and easily, I'm going to take a pair of scissors and I'm just going to cut a diagonal slant from every corner in the way. And this is going to make it fit into the tin much better and much more smoothly. So that's our tin lined, ready to go, and now we can get on with weighing out all the other ingredients. So now it's time to weigh out our ingredients. When you're baking, it's really important to make sure you're weighing out accurately. The best way to do that is with some digital scales so you can get the numbers absolutely spot on. But if you're off by a little bit, it's still going to taste great, but just you want to make sure that you're accurate every time, because then you're going to get really consistent results all the way through. So the first thing we need to add in is 75 grams of butter. Spot on. And then we're going to add in another 75 grams of golden syrup. So this is going to add the total in here to 150 grams. And now we're going to chunk in 300 grams of milk chocolate. So I was using 200 gram bars of chocolate, so that meant I needed 1.5 bars to give us 300 grams for this mix. Last thing, we're going to add about half a teaspoon of salt. Now all of our ingredients are weighed out for this step. We're going to take it to the microwave and melt it on 30-second bursts, giving it a stir every time until it's fully melted. It might get a little hot, so if you need a grown-up, go and ask for their help at this stage. So our chocolate, butter and golden syrup mixture is all melted and nice and smooth. And now all that's left to do is to add in our additional ingredients into this. You can actually change up what you pop into here, so if you have some other favorite things to add in, go for that. But what I'm using today is I've got some little marshmallows, so I'm going to add in 75 grams of these. There we go. And I'm going to add in raisins for a good nice wee chew as well. And then finally I have 200 grams of shortbread biscuits that have been chopped up. If you're gluten-free, use some gluten-free biscuits instead, or use whatever is your favorite cookie inside of this. Something that's crunchy will go really, really well and give it a really nice texture. So now we've added in all the add-ins, all that's left to do is for us to stir it together, make sure everything's covered in that lovely buttery, chocolatey mixture, and then we can pop it into the tin. So now that's all evenly covered in the chocolate mixture. We're just going to pour it all straight into the tin and level it off. The easiest way to do this is just use the back of a spoon, press it down into all the corners. It doesn't have to be very smooth. It is called a rocky road after all, so it's going to be bumpy and chunky all the way through. So we've leveled that off, pressed it down, and now it's actually time for the hard part. We're going to have to put this in the fridge and we're going to have to wait for about 30 minutes or so until it's all firmed up and ready to cut. So patience is key in this bit. So our rocky road has firmed up in the fridge and now it's time to cut it into pieces and we can finally enjoy it. So we're just going to take it out of the tin. You may need to run a blunt knife around the edge of the tin if it gets a little bit stuck in there between the baking paper and the tin, but we were nice and easy there. And now to cover it, we're going to add a generous dusting of icing sugar all over the top. Let that snow down over it. And now we're going to cut it into portions. So we're going to be using a sharp knife for this, so if you need a bit of help, go and ask a grown-up for some help at this stage. I'm going to try and cut this into 12 portions, and I'm going to go for rectangular bars. So first up, I'm going to cut the whole thing in half lengthways. And now to make 12 bars, I've got 2 portions here, so I'm going to have to cut each half into 6 bars along the way. So I'm going to start by cutting it in the middle, so splitting this into half again. And then for each one of these 4 sections, I'm going to cut it into 3 bars, so it'll take 2 more cuts. If you wanted to be really precise when you're cutting it, you could use a ruler. So you divide the length of the tin by 6 to make sure that every single piece was exactly the same size. I just did it by eye, but if you want to be really neat, that's how you can do it. So there you have it, 12 Rocky Road bars made with love, marshmallows, and of course, the secret ingredient, numbers. Tastes good. I hope you have a great time making these. I'd love to see how you get on, so please do share your bakes with me using hashtag National Numeracy Day. There are lots more videos and activities available for children, families and adults this National Numeracy Day, so search Numeracy Day to continue building your number confidence and skills.